bless you. So I've been meditating on focus. I've been meditating on how we we need the fear of God. The people of God need the fear of God um, to make the decisions that He's calling us to make. We need faith. Um, we cannot have expectations that are not supported by obedience. And we can be um, upset about how things are going in our lives. We can be upset about how things are going in our lives. You may not agree how things are turning out in your life. And one of the things that that I've been considering is I can expect to reap what I sow. And so I can expect to reap what I sow. And if we really believe that, then we would sow that which is good. We would sow obedience because we know that we are going to reap blessing. And so in our disobedience, one of the things we were discussing in our collaboration was that in our disobedience, we are not in control of the outcome. We're not in control of the outcome. We're not in control of when we receive the outcome. But even in that, we still have a responsibility to respond to God the right way. And that takes humility. That takes humility. We don't want to be the kind of people we don't I want to operate in disobedience. We don't want to be the kind of people that ruin things, that ruin people. One of the things that was said to me recently was that when you are outside of God's will, you can become ammunition for the people, not ammunition, but it was ammunition. I think it's ammunition for the people around you. You can become a firearm for it's formed against the people around you. You can become a weapon, a destroying weapon against the people that are around you. And it may not even be intentional, but what proceeds, the word of God says that after sin has, um, I forgot how it says it, but it brings forth death. The wages of sin is death. And so when I'm not in God's will, everything around me is going to start deteriorating. When I'm not spending the necessary time that I need to be spending with the Lord, the things around me are going to start to decay. What do we see out in the world? What do we see? We see people that are dead. They're walking around, but they are dead. They are dead. And they are dead. Why? Well, because I need the presence of God to survive. I need the presence of God to have life. I need the presence of God to have life more abundantly. I need his presence. His presence is what sustains me. His presence is what sustains me. He gives me the very breath that I have in my lungs. So I need him in order to survive. I need him in order to have real life. I need him in order to have real life. And so where I disconnect from the vine, where I disconnect from the Lord, where sin and disobedience causes me to disconnect, I'm gonna find myself in a world of problems that I did not expect. We don't want to um, we don't want to gamble with our salvation. We don't want to gamble with the time that the Lord has allotted us. We don't want to gamble, but we want because you can't gamble with God. You can't gamble with God. You don't even have any cards to deal. Like God is going to win. God is going to win. And so we must obey him. We're being called to obey him at ever increasing levels. And at every level, we are being asked the question, is his way perfect? Is his way perfect? And if through my experiences, I position myself to believe that his way is not perfect, then I'm going to position myself to have problems. I'm gonna position myself to have problems. God is perfect, and everything that He does is perfect. And the enemy wants for us to believe that we've been defrauded. The enemy wants for us to believe that God doesn't have our best interests at heart. The enemy wants for us to believe that the only way that we're going to succeed in this life is by taking matters into our own hands, is by doing what you want to do when you want to do it. It is by fulfilling your own desires because God is not going to fulfill your desires. Yeah, that's what he wants for you to believe. But at every level, we're being called to say yes to Jesus and no to our minds, saying yes to Jesus and no to the enemy. And how do we do that? Well, my feet has to be planted in the word of God. I have to believe the word of God is true. I have to believe the word of God is true at all times. At all times. We aren't just Jesus was telling the women as he's walking to the cross, don't be sad because if they do these things in a green tree, what's going to be done in the dry? And so we're always supposed to be consuming the word of God because even and that's going to help us, it's going to benefit us in times where we can't even foresee. So we obey God because we're commanded to. We obey God because it is going to benefit us. We obey God because it's going to benefit us in circumstances that we can't even foresee. We obey him. We obey him. We obey him. You're storing, the word of God says, don't store up for yourself riches here on earth, where moth can corrupt and things like that. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven. And so we're being called to greater levels of faith. We're being called to greater levels of faith. Don't allow your emotions, don't allow your thoughts to derail you or to tell you something that's contrary to the word of God. But I have to believe the word of God. I have to really believe it to the point where I engage it because his way is perfect. His way is perfect. His process is perfect. Where he has you is perfect. So where uh, inadequacy and insecurity and all these other things come up, we have to learn how to silence the voice on the inside. We have to learn how to silence the voice of the enemy by submitting to the word of God, by remembering what God has said, by remembering what God said about you. What did God say about you? What did God say about you? I have to not just know the word of God, but I have to implement the word of God. I have to remember the word of God. I have to remember the word of God, not just in times of trouble, but at all. I have to remember the word of God always. I'm supposed to be striving. So what David said in Psalms, I believe, he says, your word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against you. And so when we have the word of God on the inside, then that's all that's going to come out. The word of God says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. But if I am allowing my heart to be purified, if I'm allowing my heart to be sanctified, then what comes forth from that is not going to be that which defiles. It's not going to be that which um, is profane, but it's going to be holiness, it's going to be righteousness, because that's what I'm practicing. What I am practicing, what I'm focusing on, what I believe, that's what's going to come out. And so we have to teach ourselves. We have to teach ourselves how to submit to that which is right in the eyes of the Lord. His way is the best way. His way is the best way. So I need to conform to his way. His way is the best way. So I have to believe. I have to believe that. I have to believe that. I have to walk in the direction that he's called me in. It's what it says. Um, I think I have it on my wall. Yeah, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding. But in all of your ways, acknowledge him. He's going to direct your paths. He's going to direct your paths. I don't have to be afraid. I don't have to try to take control of the wheel. I don't have to do any of that because he's going to direct my paths. He's going to ensure that I'm where I need to be when I need to be there. I just have to trust him. I just have to have faith when my mind is telling me that when your mind or when the enemy is telling you that you are not you're not anything, that you are a mistake, and that all these other lies that come into your mind when it's saying these things. I have to believe the word of God. Noah says that before he formed me, he knew me. He knew me and he ordained me. So there was a lot of thought that was placed in me being here. And since that is true, then I understand that I'm set for greater purposes. And all I have to do is stay in position. All I have to do is stay in position. All I have to do is obey him. And I'm promised success. I'm promised success. I don't have to go and take success. I don't have to go and do some crazy stuff. No, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is submit to him, and he's going to make my path straight. How can a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed to the word of God, because that's what's going to save him. That's what's going to cleanse his way from generational things in his bloodline. That's what's going to cleanse his way by taking heed to the word of God. The word of God is more powerful than we think. It says the two-edged sword dividing asunder soul and spirit. But I have to believe that. Otherwise, these are words on a page that that can be a door, but I'm not allowing myself to engage it as such. We cannot believe the lies of the enemy above the word of God, but we must bring our souls under subjection to the word of God so that we can please him, because he's present to bless. He's present to bless. He's present to bless. He's not going to. We don't have to be afraid that we're gonna give all or that we're gonna spend all, and that God is not a God of replenishing. That God is not a God of giving more. We cannot beat God's giving. And so even if we give, he's going to be there to give greater. He's going to be there to give greater. So in that, you can't lose. You can't lose. So his way is perfect. His way is perfect. I have to accept that. I have to believe that. I have to believe that. I have to believe that. When it says when the enemy comes in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord raises up a standard. He raises up a standard. That standard is you and me. That standard is you. He raises up a standard. Oh no, I've seen him. I've seen him do this, that, and that. You cannot get me to believe anything other than what I have seen. That's what they said. No, we can only speak of the things that we've seen and we've heard. He does these things. He blesses in these ways. He blesses in these ways. He has been my provider. He's been my shelter. He's been my protector. He's been all of the above. So why would I not trust him now? Why would I think that his way is not perfect now? I would have to be believing a lie. And so since we have been given these promises, we must go forward in obedience in order to believe it. Um, we don't want any lies to hinder what God has ordained for us to have. He's already overcame. We have to put him on. So I pray you all receive this message.